Let's fucking go.
Everybody, welcome to the Comic Game Movie Show. My name is Deshaun, and today I'm here to review Moana 2. Now, the first Moana came out in 2016, 8 years ago to the, well, not the day, but 8 years ago, and I hold that first Moana in high regard. First of all, using, you know, the Hawaiian Samoan heritage and tapping into that mythology is something that really hasn't been done before. It was already unique. It was like Disney. This is what you, like, I know some people always talk about diversity and they get tired of hearing the word diversity, but this is the type of thing you can get when you are diverse. Tapping into a culture, into a mythology that hasn't even been touched before, and making a movie about that, and having the daughter of the chief of Samoan, of a tribe, being, you know, very Pocahontas in that sense, her being a princess in that way. And just tapping into that mythology with Maui and just so much of that that heritage that just hasn't really been touched before. Like I said, I thought it was so unique. The songs are so amazing. You're Welcome, Shiny. You know, just so many great songs out of that movie. It was the introduction to Lin-Manuel Miranda for me. I know a lot of people had already saw Hamilton and shit, what's this, in the Heights and stuff. So a lot of people were already familiar with Lin-Manuel Miranda, but that was my introduction to him, is knowing that he made those songs for Moana. And then I started seeing more and more of him, and I started reading it, and I started seeing him more and more. But Moana was like the first introduction to Lin-Manuel and his, you know, music stylings and his and the type of way he goes about things. Also, is one of the first movies one of the first movies I've ever seen The Rock sing and have a musical number in it. And while he's not anything amazing, The Rock brings so much energy and charm to his You're Welcome that you have no choice but to smile and have fun with that song when he hits it. Obviously, Maui was tailor-made for The Rock. The Rock was channeling his inner Gaston a little bit when he was doing Maui, but so that was fun. And that first Moana was amazing. It was a 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was a hit. So you gotta figure Disney might make a sequel to it. But unlike a movie like Inside Out, which lended itself so much to have a sequel, Moana didn't necessarily do that. It was pretty much a complete story. She went on a journey of self, because Moana, the entirety of Moana was about figuring out who you are. It's a self-discovery story. It's a finding yourself along the journey. It's a very classic tale of a girl finding who she is, accepting who she is, and being comfortable with the role being comfortable with who she is. Maui forgot who he was. Her people forgot who they were. She's trying to figure out who she was. The entirety of the first one is about self-discovery. And in the end, Maui remembered who he was. Even the fucking main villain forgot who she was, and she figured out she remembered who she was once she had her heart given back. I can't remember her name off the top of my head. I would just butcher it if I tried to say it. But that entire movie had a reason, it had a plot, it had a thematic, it had a beginning, middle, and end. It really didn't set up for a sequel, but when you have a movie with The Rock, and the movie itself was very successful, it wasn't one of like the biggest, most successful movies, but it was very successful at the time. Also after Inside Out and other sequels have done so great, animated sequels, and anyways, you kind of knew he was going to do something. And to the movie's credit, regardless of whatever I'm going to say about it, the movie has either crossed $1 billion or about to cross $1 billion. So regardless of what people say about this movie, people are going out to see it. It is because it is gonna get the kids to come in and watch it. So, but Moana 2 takes place 3 years after the original Moana. Moana's a little older, a little wiser. She's kind of so what you kind of discover is in the past 3 years, she's like, because at the end of the first Moana, she discovers she's away. Not only does she discover that her village were people who traveled out, like they just traveling to lands and finding new islands and whatnot for a larger, her village were an offset of a much bigger village, of a much bigger thing, and they went out to find new land and got trapped on their island. and they just settled there and they just never ventured out anymore. But her village was bigger than that. She discovered that her people used to travel the seas to find new lands, and she discovers that there might be more people out there, and she wants to become and that's what she wants to be, a wayfinder, and she wants to find new lands, she wants to find the new people, she wants to quote unquote reconnect the ocean. Basically, reconnect the islands, because as they discover over the course of the movie, all the islands used to be like one little, not nation, but basically they used to kind of be more connected. Some asshole god who is so forgettable that it's not barely worth mentioning him decided, like, for no real good reason really, to separate all the fucking islands, to make sure that, to isolate them all, and essentially to kill them slowly, to kill off all the people by separating them. So Moana, with the help of some new friends and Maui, must venture out to find this island that's the source of all this, that's the source of what separates everyone. She must find the island, she must step on the island, she must reconnect all the other little islands in the sea. And the movie is not bad. I will give it this. Looks amazing. Obviously, Pixar and Disney don't scamp out on animation. They never do. The movie looks great, and the thing is, Maui and Moana still work. Especially The Rock as Maui. The Rock as Maui is still fun. He is still entertaining to watch. It is still cool to see him do more Maui shit. It's actually kind of cool. One of the things that I did actually very much enjoy is Moana is more evolved now. In the first movie, she was kind of stumbling around. She's trying to figure things out. She doesn't have to do that anymore. She knows how to operate that boat. She's calm under pressure now. She's on it, you know. She's not the same Moana from that first movie. She's a little bit more polished, a little bit more older, a little bit more wiser, and it kind of shows through in the character. The introduction of her sister was a lovely touch. Some of the new characters, while they didn't add a lot, I did enjoy them. There wasn't a character I didn't like. There are two songs in particular that are good. Maui's Can I get a you? That was a good hymn number. And another character had a number called Get Lost, which are great number too. Both of those numbers I thought were very good. Very good, but you know, what else? What else can I say? That's about it on the positives. And that all on its own makes it still an enjoyable movie. It was still an enjoyable movie. I still had an enjoyable time watching it. But that first Moana is a 10 out of 10 movie for me. I loved that first Moana. I thought the music hit, the themes were great, the animation were great. There was some just instant classic shits out of that thing. It was an instant classic. It's an instant Disney classic, throw it in the vault. Moana 2 is lesser than. And what you kind of hope for out of a sequel is, when you make a sequel to a movie, you hope to either surpass the original or at least meet the original. This is below the original. Like, if the original's a 10, this is a 7. Now, I still think it's an enjoyable movie. I'd give it a 7, but the original's a 10. You see how big of a gap that is, though? That's 3 fucking whole points of a difference. None of the songs are gonna be as memorable. This movie, you know what? This is a lot like Frozen 2, because Frozen 2 is nowhere near as good as Frozen 1. If you've ever seen it, there's not a number in that movie that anyone's gonna remember. I liked some of the things in there, but it's not as good as the original. And the problem is it made money, so you know, it is kind of what it is. You know, this is the flip side of something like an Inside Out, because Inside Out, it made sense to make a sequel. They did more shit with it. They didn't just retread the same thing. I mean, they retreaded some of the same things. It's almost like they kind of retreaded the same things to show you, to even, like, retreading it to show you how evolved things get the older you get. Like, things that used to be this are different now. Whereas this really is just an extension of the first movie. It doesn't really have its own true thematic thing. Or if it does, it's weaker than the original movie. It's just everything about the movie is weaker. The story is weaker. The motivations of the characters are weaker. The music is weaker. Like, almost everything about the animation is weaker. Like, I just don't really know any other way to put it. It doesn't add anything. And if you're making a sequel, you want to add something. And sure, on a thematic level, on technical level, you do get more lore in that world. But that, like, it's one of those movies that I will, even when I left it, while I enjoyed myself, I left feeling like, you know what, I could have not seen this and it really wouldn't have changed much. And it's disappointing. It's really disappointing because, you know, when I heard they were making a sequel, I loved that original one so much that I was hoping I was going to love this one too, but I ended up just liking it. I enjoyed myself because I like it. I feel like your enjoyment of Moana 2 is really going to dictate on how much you enjoyed the first one. If you watched the first one and you were just like, oh, it was okay, well, you're not going to like this one at all. But if you watch the first one and you're like me, you're like, oh, I loved it, you're going to enjoy this movie, but you're going to feel it. It's a pale, it's not an imitation, it's just there. It's just there. It's just a nice little DLC. I wouldn't pay full, like, if this was a video game, I wouldn't pay full price for it. I'll put it that way. I'd be like, I hope they're selling this at 40 bucks. I hope they're selling this shit at half price because this is not a full game. But anyways, there's still some fun to be had. Fun ending, a lot of setup, but anyways. That's my thoughts on Moana 2. Have you seen Moana 2? Comment below and let me know what you thought of it. Please remember to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Goodbye.